You are afraid of your own power. You are afraid of your own ability to make change. You are afraid of your situation changing. You're afraid of having the life you actually want to have. I was called to do this message at the train station. Interestingly, I'm sitting here right in front of the tracks. And the message I got is that you are obsessed with or addicted to waiting for the train. You have become very comfortable with waiting for the train. You've become very happy with watching the train go by. Oh yeah, I'll stay right here. And it's like you're waiting for the perfect train to show up. 2 trains have passed by so far. 1 carrying freight, 1 carrying passengers. It's like you're afraid of receiving the actual resources to accomplish your mission. You're afraid of the people coming in for you to accomplish your mission. You are afraid of the change itself, afraid of the shift, afraid of the ending and the new beginning. Holding on to feelings. Oh, there we go. Yeah, see, you're holding on to feelings. That's so funny, the camera just fell like that. It's confirmation. Feelings that don't want to be seen. Feelings that don't, well, no, they do want to be seen, but feelings that it's like your ego has made you not wanting to see, perhaps. Not wanting to see who and what is going on within. This dude is just walking right across the tracks here. Okay, confirmation. You have feelings that are not being acknowledged. That it's like your ego is trying to veil. You've learned to veil. You've conditioned yourself not to see your true feelings or your true power. And I believe this is where your power lies, is in these emotions that are stuck, that are limiting you. Because that's also your creativity. Your emotions are one and the same with your creativity, with your ability to express emotion, energy and motion. That is what creativity is. I was doing some healing within myself yesterday in the sacral area, where I was recognizing a whole new level of how I don't allow myself to feel. I don't allow myself to really truly feel what's going on. And it's not that I consciously do it, not on purpose. It's that I was taught not to feel. I was taught by a very sick society that feelings are a burden, that my feelings were a burden, that feelings are something to be handled and gotten rid of so you can move on with what really matters in life, so that you can be successful, upstanding, clean, perfect image, stoic. How betrayed this feminine force of our emotions and our unknown nature has been. How betrayed. So hard to see in a society that demonizes emotions, that makes us wrong or bad for our emotions. And that's something I've had to come to understand in my life too, is good and bad, good people, bad people, it's all kind of an illusion at the end of the day. It just is. People just are what they are. And good and bad are tools of this dualistic reality we live in to decide what it is we do want, what it is we don't want, what we collectively agree we're working towards, what we collectively agree we value, etc. But it goes too far when we start to now deny these quote unquote bad parts of ourselves, when we judge things as bad and just shove them into a corner and don't allow them to be seen or expressed or known or understood. Because they have power too. The bad parts of ourselves, the emotions we stuff away that we consider bad or wrong, or that our ego has learned are dangerous, are like precious gold. And oftentimes when we're stuck in life, we're not really stuck. We are just limited by our own mind's willingness, or our own conscious mind's willingness, our own ego's willingness to dive deeper. To allow, not force, allow what is here now. What is true for you here now? And to be so honest with yourself as not to deny. So going back to, you are afraid of your power. You are afraid of change. You're at the train station waiting for the train, waiting for the resources, waiting for the people, waiting for the train that's going to pick you up and take you to your new life. But you can't accept it, and you can't get on because you're still holding on. There are things that are blocking the tracks, things that are blocking you from getting on the train, things that are keeping you cloaked so that the train can't fully see you. Or if it does, and it does stop for you to get on, you're so used to being in this way, living this way, that you literally don't believe you can get on the train. You don't let yourself get on the train. You have a fear of moving forward, a fear of surrendering to movement, surrendering to change. That's big. That sits at the foundation of our being, doesn't it? A fear of surrendering to change, a fear of movement, a fear of our power to move forward. And it boils down to a fear of our own feelings, a fear of our bad self, a fear of something bad happening if we surrender, a fear of vulnerability. I need a sip of coffee. You have to let yourself die. Whatever that just elicited for you, that's what you're working with. That's your relationship with death. If you feel resistance to it, it means you have not accepted it yet. Death is part of life. To die is part of the life cycle. There's, of course, the big death, when we, as we know ourselves as a human being in the physical body, pass on. But we go through micro deaths multiple times a day. Endings and beginnings, cycles, constantly in flow, constantly in process. And in nature we see this, the seasons, the cycles of, the caterpillar to butterfly, alchemy, death and rebirth. The tides themselves are a death and a rebirth. The in-breath, the out-breath are a death and a rebirth. It's actually the more willing you are to accept death, the more willing you are to accept death as part of life, and the more willing you are to surrender to death, the more alive you feel, the more life you get. One of those interesting paradoxes of life: to die is to live. To die is to live. So, how can you let yourself, in the moment, feel? Because it is feeling that allows death to happen. It's allowing emotion through, not resisting it, but allowing it through, allowing it to be expressed, seeing the moment. This is when what we hold on to can pass away so that something new can come in its place. And then we are on board. Our very expression, our very being becomes the passing of time and space and movement, if that makes sense. We no longer are on the sidelines watching everything happen, watching life pass by. Now we're fully invested in it because we're willing to die. We're willing to die for the sake of life. Do you understand what I'm saying? This isn't about a forced death either. It's not about trying to die, trying to let go. It's about knowing when it's time to naturally do so. It's about knowing when to allow. It's just as natural as being born, just as natural as eating, sleeping, breathing, ending, letting go. I've done it many times in my life. Ended to start again. That's your power. Your power is your ability to surrender, as much as it is your ability to move forward and make things happen. It's your ability to surrender to that process itself in a higher way. Don't be afraid of death. Learn to accept it, and this is the moment you learn to live. I think that's it. I hope this helps.